Yo, what's up, guys? What's up, guys? It's me again, your boy. And today we're back with another vid on my channel. It's been a little while, but I hope you had good holidays and Merry Christmas afterwards. And yeah, I'm back with another topic, with another vid. Let's see how it goes this time. So, as we have established already, there are videos I edit and there are videos I don't edit. Um, it's simply a matter of how much my computer can take, and as of now, it looks like he's on his limits, or I should say, it's on its limits. In German, of course, computer is male. So for now, I won't edit necessarily, but maybe I will cut here and there with the camera. Enough of that. Today's topic is linguistic fieldwork in America. Is it really the father or the home of linguistics, or should I say, the home of structuralism in American linguistics? So maybe with a bit of a niche theme once again, but I've decided to go away from those Indians and shift towards the other Indians, if you can even say Indians nowadays. But of course, as a European, I feel more free in that sort of wording. Okay, so what is American linguistics and what has led me to talk about it? So obviously, it's not a very big theme, even in linguistics here in Europe. I feel like nobody really talks about it, and I also didn't really care for it that much. But I have to say, a huge part of my interest in that field, especially nowadays, is due to a colleague at university who is American, at least his citizenship is American, and he talks a lot about linguistics in general and also a lot about American linguistics. So that has sort of driven me towards this. He could speak a lot more about it, but you only have me, not him. So I'll try my best. Also, I've watched The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio yesterday, which was really entertaining, I have to say. And also in that movie, they speak Pawnee, a Caddoan language in Missouri. At least it used to be spoken in Missouri. So that was another thing you could indulge in, if that is where your interest lies. Okay, let's get into it. Um, what did I want to say as well? No, nothing else. Okay, so as you know, or at least as you should know, there are lots of indigenous languages in. For my for my presentation today, I've decided to focus on Northern America because that's also where the whole linguistics theme of the U.S. Comes into play. Okay, that's it. And so this is where we are right now. Of course, there's also indigenous languages in Meso and South America, but for those purposes right now, I would say that maybe we should keep it a bit more brief and a bit more condensed. I already got some stuff on my paper here. So anybody who's interested in linguistics knows the name Edward Sapir, or Edward Sapir, I think. And he and Benjamin Lee Worth have together first proposed the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which is a whole different deal, and I won't get into it now, but it is a famous hypothesis, and I thought the name would be interesting to drop here because Edward Sapir did huge research on the Uto-Aztecan language family, which I will mark right now with all the others right here. Before I start, maybe I should say some other things. It's actually really interesting how linguistics in the Americas, or at least in North America, came to exist. Because in this case, it was actually a bit of another way around, where structuralism formed out of field research, which has been done by those American linguists, and then later came to be stated against Eurocentrism, which at that time was the major proponent for structuralism. But of course, in America, they needed a different kind of structuralism, which was able to describe the languages that can be found in the American continent. And first of all, it started with anthropology, and one of the most famous names there was Franz Boas. I guess he was German or Austrian, but I could be very wrong. So don't take it with a grain of salt, how they say. And that form of structuralism, the form of structuralism that describes the languages of America, that is America, by the way, a very amateur sketch, came to exist only because of the languages that have been found in the Americas and the necessity that arises to describe them. That is all I have to say about this. So major names here in that field are Edward Sapir, who used to be sorry, who used to be a theoretical linguist, but also a field researcher, which was very common back in the day. And also names like Lyle Campbell, who's one of the most renowned names in historical linguistics, and who did lots of research on Native American linguistics, and I think also Hawaiian. At least he's teaching in Hawaii. Another name also is Peter Duponco. I don't speak French. I just thought it's funny to mention him because he was a very renowned researcher. And also on Wikipedia it says that he liked the letters W and K the most. At least he found them interesting. I'm not quite sure what that means. Never seen a person in my life who takes particular interest in two certain letters, but who knows? Sometimes it's hard to differentiate between genius and insanity. Enough of that. Okay, let's get right into it. First of all, those languages I've listed here are the ones. Are the ones that are most certain about. We are most certain about, and that we can state that they really form a genetic relationship and a genetically related language family with lots of languages in them. At least there were lots of languages in them. Those languages I took from I'm Sean, Get Off My Lawn. He's a YouTuber as well, but a much bigger and much more successful one than I am. And I took the freedom of listing them like he does in his video. So make sure to give him some love, give some likes and some comments. And yeah, it's largely taken from him, but also from the book of Lyle Campbell, which I mentioned before. It is quite difficult to categorize the language families of the Americas and especially of North America. One might be inclined to think that it's as straightforward as the Indo-European ones in Europe, where we have almost, I would say, 80-90% languages of Europe Indo-European, and the other ones being the exception, which are Finno-Ugric, Basque, Turkish, Maltese, etc. In North America, it's quite the opposite. There is no, how do you say? There is no homogeneous linguistic landscape, but there are lots and lots of patches of language families intertwined and within each other, and it's really messy and really convoluted, and I'm not qualified enough to make reasonable assertions about them. But from what I've heard and from what I've read, there's this much to say. There are those languages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's those 10 language families which we are quite certain about and which linguists have proponed for a long time, and where we can say that they exist with a huge certainty and they are distributed in certain regions of North America. So for now, let's do it like this. Algic we can find in this part, I would say. Eskimo Aleut we can find from Alaska all over to North Canada. Na-Dene we can find in patches here, but also up here. And as well, some people have proposed that the cat language in Siberia is Na-Dene, which I've talked to my expert friend from uni, and he just did this gesture, so I assume he thinks it's rubbish. So that's what I will say for now as well. Then we have Uto-Aztecan, also here in the southern part, but heading into Mexico as well. Then we have Iroquoian. That's where the famous haircut comes from, the Iroquois. That one is here rather northern. Muscogean is more a southern thing. I can't get into the States right now because it's much too complicated for me, and I'm not that certain about the borders, so that's why I left the borders out here. Wakashian is more of here, I think close to Tlingit language. Salesian is here in the north, in Washington. Caddoan is more here. That's what they spoke in the Revenant. That's what Pawnee is. And Siouan is a huge language family that stretches all over the America. And that was what I had in mind, because now you can't tell where what is, and I am safe with my descriptions. I'm sorry if that was a bit complicated and hard to follow. That at least that's what I'm trying to do here, is to tell a bit of factual knowledge that I possess and that is out there surrounding that topic. If you wish to get deeper into it, which I do as well, I would recommend to check out the book from Lyle Campbell, which I've read now in just small instances, and which I think is the go-to in that field. And as well, maybe watch the video of I'm Sean, Get Off My Lawn, which is a good introduction for people who have never heard or studied anything about North American languages. And yes, I forgot to mention, what is this? This is Merry Christmas in the Osage language of the Osage people, known from the movie Killers of the Flower Moon, also with Leonardo DiCaprio, shot by Martin Scorsese. It is extinct language, but there is revival efforts, and I just thought it's quite cool. I saw it on Instagram today, and I thought I might write it down. Obviously, I can't pronounce it. I won't even try, but I think it's very encouraging that these days something is done, even with those small indigenous, almost fully extinct languages, but hope can be found in those dark times. One other thing I would like to mention is that the renowned sociolinguist Dal Hymes, which some people might know from the speaking model, I also learned about him only in sociolinguistics class, also did field research on American Indian languages, especially here on the what is it? Chukun language, I think, right here in Washington or Oregon, I believe. And he did some reconstructions there. And my my uni friend told me they are rubbish once again, but all I can do is cite him because I haven't really looked into it that deep. I just thought it's interesting to mention by chance because Del Hymes is quite a famous name out there in the world of linguistics, at least. And also one thing I've wanted to mention was that a lot of times Papua New Guinea is stated, or at least it's listed, as the linguistically most diverse place on Earth, which I also believed for a long time, and I guess I still believe to some part. But once again, my uni friend, I think I can say his name, Patrick, has told me that in his belief, California actually holds a similar reputation, at least in his eyes, because as you can see, I haven't drawn anything here on the California map, and that is why in each and every tiny valley and region and village in California, there is another language family to be found, and there has yet to be someone who can reconstruct a proper proto-language for all of them. At least that's what I've heard. So I guess we have a very similar situation to Papua New Guinea. Just in this case, most of them have been extinct. I think there's some nations there, and there is efforts for revivals, but it looks rather grim, I would say. At least in California in general, because as we all know, the state is burning down as well. So I don't think that reconstruction, or at least the revival of Indian languages, has the highest priority state-wise as well. And as we know, the political situation right now is a bit grim too. But I think it's a fun fact to drop at dinner parties, at least if there are linguists around. And it's something I can give you on your way to think about, at least if you want to. Another thing I would like to show is that I am actually the first known person to write a Python script in the Lakota language in South Dakota. related to the Dakota language and the Nakota language. At least I've tried to write something in Lakota. Obviously, I don't know Lakota that well. I've just consulted the dictionary on it, and that is my Python script. I'm not a programmer in any sense, so it might be flawed, and it's also quite basic. I just did it because I had a course and I was sort of bored. And now I guess I'm a pioneer in the field. Enough jokes for this. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. It's a longer one again, no cuts. Sorry, lots of burping. But something to give you a chill and relaxed Christmas time and good holidays. And for all my Jewish brothers out there, happy Hanukkah. Okay, I'll see you in the next, and goodbye.